What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel. I'm Ken, and today we're going to be talking about Top Gun Maverick on 4K, and I am so excited to dig into this release. I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to purchase this or not, but I saw this in the theater. I absolutely loved it, and I'm like, I just need to get this. I need to watch it again. I need to be sure that it holds up still at home. And again, we're going to talk about that in a second. We're going to dig into this release. I'm going to briefly talk about my thoughts on the movie. Then we're going to talk about the 4K transfer, sound, special features, packaging, all that good stuff. I'm going to break down this release and let you know if it's worth owning or not. I will be linking a copy of this to own and purchase down below in the description. So yeah, very excited to get into it. Before I do that, guys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I cover new 4Ks and Blu-rays on this channel. We talk physical media every single day. So if you like that kind of content, you will definitely enjoy this channel. Hit the subscribe button. Also, be sure to like this video, guys, and comment down below if you've seen Top Gun Maverick. What's your thoughts? Are you going to purchase this 4K? You're going to get the 4K? Going to get the Steelbook? There are multiple options to get. Let me know in that comment section below. I know a lot of people are excited to pick this up because I actually put a poll out on my YouTube community tab just asking people what they're the most excited for this week, and 70% of you all out of the 1,300 that voted said they were excited to get Top Gun Maverick and own it in the collection, which I actually thought was pretty incredible. And I think the reason for that is this was we had to wait a very long time to get this. The movie came out back in May, and we're just now getting the 4K. So it's been about five and a half months since it came out in theaters, and we're just now getting the 4K. And I think that the reason for that is this movie was a box office juggernaut, made $1.5 billion worldwide. So it made sense they wanted to keep it in theaters to keep making money. So the movie, of course, is starring Tom Cruise. You got Miles Teller in the film as well, who I absolutely love. I've loved Miles Teller since Whiplash. Like, that's one of my favorite movies of like the entire 2010s with him and J.K. Simmons. You also got Jennifer Connelly in this movie. This is directed by Joseph Kosinski. I keep wanting to say John Krasinski. That's not the same name. Kosinski, I believe, is his name. But he's worked with Tom on some other movies before. I think they did Oblivion together with Morgan Freeman in it. I didn't see that movie. So there's actually a writing credit for Christopher McQuarrie on this film as well, which I don't think I realized that until I was looking into this before talking about it. So it makes sense that this movie, the story is just so well written and just so well executed because he, of course, has worked on the Mission Impossible films with Tom Cruise, and those are all excellent. So, I don't know. This movie is really, like I said, it's the best movie that I've seen in 2022. And I don't even think that's up for debate. Like, it's not even close. Like, my second favorite movie of the year is nowhere close to how I feel about this movie. And it's really, I've been trying to get to the root of it. And again, I watched it again just now. Why is this movie so freaking good? Why is this movie a sequel? 36 years later. Top Gun came out in 1986, and Top Gun is a fun movie. It's an iconic movie. It's a great movie. But it's again, I don't want to say it's cheesy, but it is kind of like a cheesy, very nostalgia-driven 80s film. Why is a movie, a sequel to that movie that has no right to be this damn good? Like, how does that happen? And I think you have to give most of the credit here to Tom Cruise. Like, this guy knows not only how to make a film, but how to carry over a character from that long ago and make him feel just as important as he was back in the day. Like, what Tom Cruise is able to do for the character of Maverick in this film is absolutely incredible. He had so much depth, so many layers to this character. You know, it's 34 years later, I think, in the timeline. I think this film takes place in 2020 because they actually shot it before the pandemic, and then they had to shut everything. This movie got delayed so much, which is another thing you got to give Tom Cruise credit for. Like, he held this movie back and said, no, we are not putting this on streaming. This movie is going to the theaters. And he held it and he held it. They wanted to put it on Paramount Plus, and he would not let them. And look what happened. The movie came out and made $1.5 billion. It's just who could have saw that happening right there? But Tom Cruise, he just has such a care for the art of film, for the experience. And that's what this movie is. You don't just watch Top Gun Maverick. you experience this movie. It is such an experience. It feels like such a real, authentic film. And what I mean by that, it just really has that old school feeling. Like it has the 80s feels in it as well, but it also just feels like, I don't know if you guys, I don't know if I can articulate this perfectly, but you know, back in the 90s, you would watch a movie like Forrest Gump or The Shawshank Redemption. And I'm not saying this movie has as much depth as The Shawshank Redemption, but you just watch movies like those, The Green Mile. I'm thinking of Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. And it just feels like you're getting so much out of it in terms of story and characters and also cinematography and just overall filmmaking. Just everything clicks together to give you this experience. And we just don't get that nowadays. Like you get, I'm sorry, I don't like the crap on Marvel, but they're kind of the hot ticket in town right now. But you watch a Marvel movie and they're fun, they're enjoyable, they're comedic, you have a good time, but you don't get a lot out of it. You forget it when you walk out of the theater. When you watch Top Gun Maverick, this is a movie. Like this is a film. Like that's the best way I can describe it. And not only that, but it capitalizes off of the nostalgia from Top Gun. I truly believe that. I know some people I've heard say that you don't need to watch the first one to watch this and enjoy it. I kind of think that you do. I definitely think you're going to get a lot more out of it, even though you might not enjoy Top Gun as much as Maverick, because this may be controversial, guys, but I think Top Gun Maverick is a better movie than Top Gun. And I don't know how many people would agree with that or not. It capitalizes off that nostalgia just so perfectly. It adds so much depth to all of the characters, like from the past, but also the newer characters that have relationships with some of the older characters. Just how it carries everything through this many years later and just gives you all those feels, just intensifies them all. Is really incredible. I give this movie, to be honest with you, I can't find a fault in this movie. I think it's a perfect sequel. Other than the last 30 minutes is kind of a retread of A New Hope, Star Wars A New Hope. Like I get so many similarities between those two. Just watch them both. Watch the last 30 minutes of A New Hope, Star Wars, and watch the last 30 minutes of this. So many similarities. And that's another thing about this movie. Talking about Tom Cruise and just the experience, the cinematic experience, the fact that he made the actors, or he had the actors, not make them, of course they could quit if they wanted to, but he had the actors in the actual cockpits flying with the cameras, filming them. He cared that much about the experience to add that much realism to it. But the movie's just a spectacle, guys. Like the first one was a spectacle-ish. This one really is a spectacle. There's so much aerial stuff, aerial combat sequences, like the stuff in the end, like the last 30 minutes is just so damn good, so great. Just some great solid action, great solid character work. I love everybody in this. I think the performances, they're not Oscar worthy in my opinion, but they are perfect for this movie. So I got to give this movie high marks, 5 out of 5 from me. For this movie, I think it's a perfect movie, perfect sequel for sure. Now let's get into the transfer, the real meat of why you're buying this at home to enjoy on your 65, 75, 85 inch, whatever you got, your home theater, home entertainment system. Why do you want to purchase Top Gun Maverick? Simply, this is one of the best. And I don't really talk about a lot of newer films in 4K. I usually do like some of the older films that are being remastered in 4K is kind of what I do the most of on this channel, I'd say. But this is one of the best newer film 4K restorations or transfers that I have ever seen. I know a lot of people hype up Godzilla vs. Kong. I actually haven't watched that on 4K. I watched it on HBO Max when it came out. But damn does this look good. This transfer is reference quality, as they would say. Of course, it was shot on 4K. Even some parts of this were actually shot on 6K. And this includes HDR, Dolby Vision, but it just looks absolutely incredible. I was just so stunned by this visually. Like I always get stunned by the restoration, just what they could do with what it used to look like versus what it looks like today. That's always super impressive. But if you want to get a real look at what your 4K TV and 4K player can do, you watch Top Gun Maverick. This movie was so clean, was so sharp. Like these close-up images on Tom Cruise's face, Jennifer Connelly, You got John Hamm in this movie, who I absolutely love. I didn't even mention John Hamm. He's kind of a dick in this movie, but I freaking love him in this movie. Ed Harris, like these close-ups on their faces, it is so clear. Like the clarity is insane in this. You can see every single wrinkle, every single imperfection. The colors are fantastic with the HDR. There's a lot of reds, there's a lot of grays. Of course, there's a lot of outside sequences in the cockpit, flying. All of those sequences just look so incredible. Like I'm always impressed with the older films and what they can do to restore those. But this is the peak, the absolute pinnacle of what this format can do, 4K format can do, is this 4K disc right here. If you want to see what your TV is capable of, you throw in Top Gun Maverick. It switches back and forth from IMAX and widescreen as well. Just does it perfectly. Just some of the aerial scenes in this movie, they blew me away in the theater, but at home, like again, blew me away again. I don't have a huge TV. I have a 65-inch, but I do have an OLED that I recently purchased. And like I said, it just looks so sharp. Contrast levels, black levels. It all just comes together perfectly to give you one of the best picture quality viewing experiences that I promise you've ever had in 4K. Like this is just one of the best that I have ever seen. Hands down, looked perfect. So the transfer was absolutely fantastic. And another thing that I found to be super impressive was this feels like this was not shot on film. This was shot digitally, but it still feels like a movie that was shot on film. It just had that film feel to it. I don't know, when you're watching a movie, you can tell a lot of movies, especially again, I hate to keep throwing, we'll throw DC under the bus, but some of the superhero movies, some of the more like recent movies, they tend to rely a lot on CGI. This movie really doesn't do that at all. Like I said, a lot of the stuff in this movie is real. Like they put the people in the actual cockpits of the planes. They actually got a lot of footage of planes actually flying. Like there is not CGI. This is not CGI to death. Like this is authentic and real, and it just comes through in this transfer. Just such a great transfer, a perfect transfer, perfect movie, perfect transfer. We are 2 for 2 right now. Let's talk about the sound, because I recently got an LG soundbar 5.1.3 and it simulates Dolby Atmos. So it is not the full Dolby Atmos setup, but it does simulate the Dolby Atmos. And man, I can tell you right now, I've had this soundbar for about a month. I got it at the beginning of October. I have not heard it operate like this before. The sound in this movie, I can promise you, especially if you have that full setup, it will kick your ass. It will kick your ass in this movie. It was so incredible. Like the plane, just like right from the beginning when Tom Cruise is doing that test run right in the beginning, Ed Harris is standing there and he flies the jet right over its head. Like you could just feel it coming at you, like right above you. Again, there's so many incredible sequences with the planes flying and just you hear all the engines rumbling and the whooshing and all that stuff. It's incredible, the sound here. So it blew me away. Like right from the beginning as well, when that like classic Top Gun score comes in, you feel that bass. It just rumbled my subwoofer. Yeah, gave my system a nice workout, and I'm sure it will yours as well. You will be so impressed with the sound here, I can promise you. And again, it does have the Dolby Atmos. It also has Dolby True HD 7.1, Dolby Digital 5.1 as well. It's available in multiple languages. So many languages, too many to list right here. But yeah, sound wise, guys, it blew me away. I have not experienced sound like this ever before. But I have now, and I'm a changed man. I can tell you that 100%. I am a changed man after hearing the sound from Top Gun Maverick. So yeah, again, perfect sound. 3 for 3, guys. Now let's get into the packaging. We make it a little negative right here, so you do have this absolute awesome packaging right here from Paramount. I do love the slipcover right here for sure. Take this out of the slipcover. I'll show you the front, show you the back. And I did kind of want the steel book, but also I'm glad I got the slipcover because it matches the slipcover of my other Top Gun on 4K. open this up, you do just have a plain generic black disc, but the one negative, guys, is you don't get a Blu-ray. You don't get a Blu-ray here. Paramount's been doing this thing where they're not including the Blu-rays anymore in their 4Ks, but if you get the Steelbook, you can get the Blu-ray. So I don't understand why if you can get the Steelbook, you get the Blu-ray, but if you get the regular 4K, you can't get the Blu-ray. I don't understand the logic there, but you can view that as a negative, but what I will say, and it is always nice to have the option. It is always nice to have the option, and this is also, it's 30 bucks. This is 30 bucks right now. So a Blu-ray would have been nice. But what I will say is once you watch this in 4K, you're not going to want to watch it on Blu-ray. You're not going to want to watch it somewhere else on a smaller screen. You're going to want to watch this movie in your best setup on 4K every single time. It's really pointless to watch this on Blu-ray once you've seen the 4K. So I will say that because my one complaint with not having the Blu-ray, sometimes I maybe go into another room where I just have a Blu-ray player, might be watching it on a smaller TV. I'm not going to do that with Top Gun Maverick. Every single time I view this going forward, it's going to be in my best possible setup with the 4K. So that's kind of how I feel about that. It is a negative, but it's not really a negative for this particular movie. But again, it's always nice to have that Blu-ray. Getting into the special features, guys, you get 80 minutes of special features here, which are really some awesome special features. You get an entire like Cannes Film Festival interview with Tom Cruise. It's like 45 minutes long. You get tons of other great interviews with the cast and crew that are honestly pretty basic, but it's nice that they're including this stuff. A lot of newer releases don't include this much special features. So some really great special features here. Packaging is really nice. I do like the slipcovers that Paramount does for sure. Guys, look, it's 30 bucks. It's a bit expensive for a new 4K, but I'm going to tell you right now, even with just a 4K disc, this is absolutely 100% worth your money and a must-own. Definitely add this one to your collection. I will link that down below in the description, the purchase link for Top Gun Maverick on 4K. So there you have it, guys. That is my review. Thank you all so much for watching. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to my channel. Comment down below your thoughts on this movie if you're going to be picking it up. Turn on those bell notifications and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.